Welcome back to Mindful Yoga for Healing. Remember, we talked about mindful in the simplest of terms as observing your mind, the fluctuations of your mind. Yoga, remember, comes from the Sanskrit word yoke. Keep in mind this idea of connection with your inner steadiness. Healing, we're thinking in terms of becoming sound and healthy, feeling stable. Now, as we move into discussing the foundations of yoga, think of it in terms of the facets, many facets of a diamond. Truly, yoga is nothing too complicated, the foundations, but rather the universal principles of a well-lived life. Thinking in terms of none of these foundations are independent of the other, just as we think in terms of the facets of a diamond. To begin with, awareness. That inner capacity to observe your own experience. Another way of defining mindfulness, watching yourself in daily life with alert interest without judgment. Hard to do. Next, simple being, which seems a bit elusive, and yet just like our breath is always here, even if we overlook it. It is that immediate sense of presence. So think about that reliable point, that feeling of being centered that you can return to, that's always available to you. A way of finding your bearings, simple being. Acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation. It is not giving up. It is allowing things to shift. The Serenity Prayer or Creed states it very well. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So not giving up control when control is possible, but avoiding struggle when you can. Next, at the seat of everything is love and that deep down goodness within, which kind of returns to that idea of simple being, that inner steadiness. Think about love as beginning that expression, charity begins at home. We can be very hard on ourselves. And it is our capacity for self compassion and love that allows us to fully love others. Now, love takes expression in different ways. Could be kindness, lots of ways that we express our caring. And we want to deepen our internal relationship to that quality of care and kindness and love. So all of this is the idea of riding the waves. And waves are universal. Radio waves, light waves, the beat of the heart, ocean waves, seismic waves, heat, brain, muscles, everything in the universe vibrates in a wave-like pattern. As we think about the waves of the ocean, think that the waves in your life with the metaphor of the ocean and the ocean waves, they do eventually subside. We don't know when. And if it's a long wave, for example, at the beach, we may not see the end, we may see the end of the wave, but there are many little waves in between that are hard to see. Now, riding the waves, which is our intent, it's what we're seeking, is living skillfully. That ability to ride or surf versus being knocked down by the waves. And one way we can ride the waves is by employing the foundational principles we've discussed: being present, being aware, sensing the patterns of the waves. And all of this practice is reflected in our actions and known in our heart. So let's talk about the waves of the breath. And we're going to talk about this remarkable capacity that we have as part of our autonomic nervous system to breathe. And of course, when I tell people I have learned how to breathe through yoga, they look at me with astonishment, because clearly we're breathing all the time. But we do have an influence on our breath and our ability to deepen and lengthen and make our breath more full of ease has this remarkable capacity to calm our nervous system. So just a few astonishing facts about the breath. We breathe 12 to 20 times per minute. And every day we breathe about 20,000 times. And our autonomic nervous system controls respiration, and it communicates with our sympathetic, parasympathetic, and enteric system. We're going to talk about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic over the course of our time together in this program. So think about the diaphragm, which you can see in that picture. It is nestled kind of like an umbrella or a dome up deep into the rib cage. And it is our primary respiratory muscle. We also, when we are stressed or it can become habitual, we can use the accessory muscles of our neck, but that is not efficient. It certainly makes sense that we use everything we can when we're under threat. We're running from a saber-toothed tiger, which presumably none of us are, but our sympathetic nervous system may think we are, that we've got this terrible external threat, so that we imagine the threat being large and bigger than perhaps the reality of it. So the breathing through the nose, just talking about how we're going to explore breathing together. In yoga, we breathe in and out through the nose. If it's not comfortable, then through pursed lips in the exhalation. But ideally, we are inhaling through the nose. It's a narrow aperture or opening that slows down our breath, and then breathing out through the nose. And when we're breathing in, it's energizing. We are engaging our sympathetic nervous system. And when we're breathing out, it's relaxing. We're engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system for rest and digestion and relaxation. And studies have shown that yoga can produce through our breathing systemic, deep bodily relaxation. It can decrease our heart rate and increase our breath volume. And with that comes increased energy. So we're going to, in the course of our time together, we're going to work with our breath with that intent to be curious and to learn, not to push or to strive. So I look forward to leading you in some specific breathing practices that I hope you will find relaxing and rejuvenating. Thank you.